Hi, Dr. Simeon Roger, and this is the second video in this series where we're talking about the three silver bullets of health, that our culture has taught us to consistently ignore. Three health dynamics that are incredibly powerful that we've been taught to ignore. And what are they? Well, the second one, and that's the one we're talking about right now, it's actually just breathing. You know, breathing, if you think about it, is taken as a given. It's taken as a given largely by the medical system, the materialist medical system that we have. It's taken completely as a given by the educational system and all of this. So we're never taught about breathing. We don't know that our organism is meant to breathe in a certain way and not meant to breathe in other ways. So think of someone who is really emotionally upset. They're in a very negative emotional state. Maybe they're really angry or enraged. What happens? What can you observe about that person? Well, you'll notice that person is that energy is rising. They're holding a lot of energy in the chest, in the head, and that their breathing becomes very ragged, very labored. It's very high in the chest. Now, if you take that person, interestingly enough, if you can get them to focus on abdominal breathing, breathing down into the abdomen, so instead of breathing with their shoulder structure, breathe down into the abdomen, that negative emotional state will dissipate fairly quickly. So that shows you the connection between emotional state and breathing. So breathing has a huge psychological emotional effect on us as human beings, and that's why it's very important to get it right. We live now in a very, of course, cerebral society. In this cerebral society, we're basically taught that our body is just a transportation system for the brain, and other than that, it serves no function. It's a transportation system. But as we now know scientifically, we are an integrated whole. And we could go into that in huge detail and spend an hour on it, but we're not going to do that here. But breathing wrong has certain consequences. And some of this breathing wrong is the result of our idea that at attention is perfect posture. Well, the at attention posture is anything but, because it really constrains breathing. You can't be in that rigid at attention posture and breathe abdominally. Now, most people don't breathe abdominally. How do you know this? Go into any venue where you see a lot of people, especially people who are sitting down, so you can observe them closely, whether it's on a bus or in a movie theater, maybe it's a meeting, it's okay, wherever it is. And you look at these people and you realize that their shoulders are bobbing up and down as they breathe. That's how they're breathing. And you use a tremendous amount of energy to breathe this way, but the problem is that it takes more energy to breathe this way than it does for the energy you create from taking in the oxygen. So it's a kind of a zero-sum game. And worse than that, of course, it tends to concentrate energy up into the chest, into the head. So the person who chest breathes will become anxious more easily, will become stressed more easily. And that becomes a major problem. So the monkey mind becomes a huge problem in our culture because people are breathing incorrectly. At least that's a major part of the reason. So in addition to that, of course, they become therefore stressed and anxious. And therefore, because they're stressed and anxious, they feel the need to control their environment around them. And so it sets up this control dynamic that is a losing proposition. And of course, from a physical point of view, when a person is breathing into the chest, into the head, all of that, it tends to have negative physical impacts that are easily associated with those psychological impacts, things like increased blood pressure, things that aren't very good and you don't want to maintain long term. So abdominal breathing is absolutely a key, because when you do breathe abdominally, energy drops, which doesn't mean your overall energy level drops. Your energy level increases, but where energy is held in the body actually sinks down to the lower abdominal area, which according to Chinese medicine is exactly where it's supposed to be. So ideally, if you're rightly situated, you should feel always very light and empty almost on top in your torso and heavy and solid in your lower body. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, what we're doing, you can ask yourself if this is you, you're holding a lot of tension up here. And that's what we tend to do as a society. So if you want to know more about all this, come out to the webinar on Thursday, this coming Thursday, which is July 11th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about all of these dynamics. We have one more to go in this video series. which you'll find very illuminating. But if you want to know more, I'm going to be talking about the incredible energy technologies incorporated into the ancient Taoist art of Qigong. Qigong meaning energy work and its associated methods like Tai Chi, for example. If you're interested in any of that, or if you've practiced it before, you'll definitely want to come to this, and you'll find the link in the description. So that's it for now. Be sure to watch for the next video. Hopefully we'll see you on the webinar. That's it for now. Thanks.